always got something negative to say. Negative Nancy's. I'm sick of y'all. Yeah, first thing I was about Section 8. Go get some Section 8. Who don't want no Section 8? Who want to be struggling? Got about 10 damn families living in one house and y'all worried about a bitch on Section 8. I'm living my best life over here. Living my best life over here on Section 8. And I'm gonna die on Section 8. I don't got no motherfucking plans or no future getting off of it. So if you're waiting on my Section 8, bitch, go stand back in line, ho. You're gonna be waiting on Section 9, waiting on my motherfucking voucher. Sure enough is, I ain't letting it go. Period. Period. I'm dying on it. If you had custody of your kids, you can approve for Section 8 too. But y'all too lost in the streets. So you ain't got your children. The next bitch living with your children on low income. So you're mad. And then be the mans. Talking about some Section 8. Y'all want a bitch on Section 8 so bad, it don't make no sense. It don't make no sense. I'm sick of y'all. Rose! You don't pay $2? Neither do I. Neither do I. I don't pay $2. But goddammit, when I need a break from work, I'm gonna pay zero. I'm gonna pay zero. Now, what bitch in that right mind leaving Section 8 that can take breaks from work and pay zero?
Okay, hold on. We got to get in here. Listen, man. She said she going to die on Section 8. And she said, you can keep waiting if you want to. She said, you waiting on her Section 8, you going to be waiting on Section 9. And I wouldn't doubt it. I wouldn't doubt it. Because to come on here and be this ignorant, I know you don't got no intentions of getting a job. I don't even think you would have the prospects. Soon as this video comes out, somebody finds this online, I pretty much don't care what you're doing. You're going to have to work at exactly what you eating. Because it look like you eating Popeyes right now, based off what that biscuit look like. So your only option is going to be Popeyes chicken, where you can actually act like this in the establishment. But I mean, this is just embarrassing. And it's really what we see a lot of times and what we've been talking about. People on these programs that don't want to give it up. I mean, she's got all the energy in the world. Even this freeze frame right here is a great indication of it. And this just looks egregious. I'm going to be honest. I done seen some wild freeze frames in my day where you make somebody look kind of funny because of how you freeze them. But this might take the cake. There is no reason for anybody to ever be able to freeze frame you with this image right here. As a matter of fact, I'm glad I stopped the video because this has definitely got to be in the thumbnail somewhere, somehow. Some way, somehow. Listen, if somebody can freeze frame you like this on the internet, you should be ashamed of yourself. And you should absolutely be embarrassed, and your family and anybody associated with you should be embarrassed. But before we get back into it, y'all, if you could like the video, I would greatly appreciate it. It only takes a second, and it's literally just a click, and it helps out more than you know. But it's literally just a click. So if you're here anyway, you might as well just go ahead and click that like button. And then also, if you can hype the video as well.
When I need a break from work, I'm gonna pay zero. I'm gonna pay zero. Now, what bitch in that right mind leaving Section 8 that can take breaks from work and pay $0 and live like this, huh? You don't know that bitch in her right mind doing nothing like that. What's wrong with y'all? Y'all better go get y'all something and stop hating. Bitch, I take off when I want to.
She said, stop hating. How can you not hate when you come online like this? It's almost like you're trying to entice the hate. It's not even almost like, ma'am, you are absolutely hate baiting. That's what you're doing. You hate baiting. Hate bait. You want the hate because that's ultimately going to translate into engagement. That's going to translate into people having something to say about it, i.e., comments. And that's just going to continue to push it and continue to help it circulate so that you can also bridge some of the gap because you're probably already getting your whole life taken care of by the federal government. But that comes with its restrictions as well. And by restrictions, that means that you have to stay within certain parameters so that you can always be within the guidelines in order to make sure that you're maximizing and ultimately capitalizing off the benefits that you're receiving. So therefore, you have to think of other creative ways in order to bring in a little extra income, i.e., what we see a lot of people on these benefits try to do is they try to become viral internet sensations at the risk of their own reputation and really just at the risk of their own dignity, because there's nothing dignified about this, I guess, rant, as you want to call it. Rants are supposed to be designated for people who have an issue about something unfair. Rants are not supposed to be designated for the people who are actually utilizing and capitalizing on the unfairness, and your life is actually great. That's not how that's supposed to work. Why are you ranting? You should be happy from ear to ear, smiling from ear to ear.
Oh, y'all better go get y'all something and stop hating. Huh. Bitch, I take off when I want to. I retire for years at a time with my Section 8. Because I can. Because you do what you want when you popping. And Section 8 been keeping me popping since 2009. I'm going to build into 2099. 2099. Yeah, I'm passing my Section 8 voucher to my grandbaby. So what y'all gonna hate on her too? I'm just sick
She
of
said that like when you royalty and you got a kingdom to pass down. You passing it down like it's an inheritance. I never understood that. How do you pass down something from the government? How do you pass down government allocated subsidized funds? How does that work? Never understood that. Never understood why that was a rule or why that was allowed. I get it's convenient, I guess, because if they're already in the home, it'd probably be easier to just keep them within the home. Maybe that's an incentivization on the landlord's behalf because that's less legwork that they have to do ultimately in order to get the property back up to par or whatever. But that's not fair. It shouldn't work like that. Because if you're passing it down, then that means that you're actually passing it down to a younger generation. Why did the younger generation make the same mistakes as you if they got to live in Section 8 and that's supposed to be designated for destitution? And again, you passed it down. That means you died on it. That means you were elderly on Section 8. But why is the younger generation even resorting to Section 8 if they're able bodied? And again, you got to witness and experience. And what should have happened was you were supposed to teach them better to learn from your mistakes. But actually, what typically happens is they give up the game. And I wouldn't be surprised if some of these mothers, parents are actually telling them, yeah, have this many kids because you see, I was able to live off of it up until this age. If you have all these kids, then you'll be able to ride this out just like I did. Life has been great. And then all you got to do is figure out ways to make a little extra something under the table. And you can pretty much cruise this out. And you have all your time back. You're free. Look, another crazy freeze frame. She's just full of freeze frames that is just wild.
I'm passing my Section 8 voucher to my grandbaby. So what y'all gonna hate on her too? I'm just sick of y'all. Yeah, $0. When I retired from work for years, I paid $0. And guess what? Section 8 even helped me pay my goddamn light bill. So who getting off of Section 8, huh? Who don't want Section 8, huh? Only the haters. Cause y'all hoes are hard working and underpaid.
Ooh.
Sit there slaving yourself like a...
Oh, that one kind of stings a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. Oh man. Oh, no wonder all this regulation coming through right now. Oh, let me hear that again. That one hurt my soul right there. See, ma'am, you heading below the belt now. Come on now. It's no wonder all this regulation. People done got tired, sick and tired of all this. Listen to this again.
Cause y'all hoes are hard working and underpaid.
Ooh.
Sit there slaving yourself like a dog to take care of other mans. And they got a nerve that
we slaving ourselves like a dog to take care of you, apparently. Ooh, that one hurt because it's real. Yeah, you right. And that's why we had to address this. You right. It's a lot of Americans, middle class, upper class, lower class, but ultimately the people that's working and it's not getting benefits, working like slaves, working real hard just to survive and still not be able to live as good as y'all. And so you're right. See, that was what that was the final straw that broke the camel's back right there. You absolutely right. We tired of seeing this. Working real hard just to make a way, just to try to do things the right way. And we got people like you who ain't doing nothing and that's lazy. That's lazy getting their whole life taken care of. She said whole life taken care of. Been on it since 2009 and ain't going to get rid of it till 2099 is what she said. You are absolutely right. That one hurt, but it's the truth. And we had to absorb that because after we absorbed it, we processed it, we pondered it. Then we came up with a plan. And the plan is people like you got to get up off of it. And that's what's happening right now. And you can't blame nobody but people like this that had to come on here and hit us below the belt, us hardworking people who work very hard just to be able to take care of ourselves, as well as we also forsake impulsive pleasures and pleasantries that we want to indulge in the moment. And we forsake those things all for the sake of delayed gratification and ultimately for us to be prosperous one day. But it is a sacrifice nonetheless. It's not easy, especially when you see everybody else doing things the wrong way and still getting rewarded and incentivized by it.
Sit there slaving yourself like a dog to take care of other mans. And they got a nerve to be worried about Section 8. Girl, Section 8 is on our side. Huh? What's wrong with y'all? Sick of y'all. Y'all pathetic.
Oh.
I only got something to say.
Let's move on. So the next caption in the next clip says, her ex snitched to Section 8. Now she and her kids are homeless.
So I just got finished watching a video of a girl who was on Section 8 and she had her boyfriend living in an apartment with her. They break up. He gets pissed off, goes down to the Section 8 office and tells them that he was living there. The Section 8 office asks him, do he have any proof? He shows them a piece of mail and they give her 24 hours to vacate the premises. Now she's on the internet crying because she doesn't have anywhere for her and her children to go. The first mistake was laying up with a man that's okay with staying in your Section 8 apartment. If I'm dating somebody and I'm on Section 8, I have no interest in dating them if they cannot help out my situation in any shape or form. Like, there's no way I would be dating a man who was okay with laying up in some Section 8 housing. That doesn't even make sense. And the fact that y'all be jeopardizing your place to stay for these men is crazy. This is where you and your children lay your head at. Now you don't have that because your boyfriend being a living boyfriend was that more important than your kids. Y'all have to do better.
Yeah, a lot of things is more important than their kids, we find. Because a lot of times we don't even gotta touch it because there's so many other things within this that we can talk about. But listen, what does she say? Any man worth his salt would not be in your Section 8 with your kids. Because, ma'am, you're jeopardizing you and your kids' stability and a roof over y'all head. All for what? All for the thing that probably got you in this situation to begin with, which is you're jeopardizing you and your kids' future, all in the sake of impulsive fun and passion, momentary passion that you clearly haven't learned from. Again, it was probably what put you in this predicament to begin with, to where you have all this overhead that you no longer can actually be responsible for and be able to actually sustain. And then that's what actually caused the government and the taxpayer ultimately to have to step in and save you. And now, not only did you show you don't appreciate it, because I would argue you're showing you don't even appreciate it or value it by risking it. You don't risk things that you appreciate and value. You wouldn't, if you appreciated and valued your car, you wouldn't go somewhere and gamble it on a dice game, right? If somebody, if even if you are a gambler, you might just be like, yeah, I'll do $10 or something. Then they'd be like, nah, man, go big or go home. That's a nice whip right there you got. Let's bet that. You'd be like, no, I'm not even risking that. I put in a lot of time, I put in a lot of effort to acquire this vehicle, and I probably don't even own it all the way. So no. And the fact that you would see people risk these things just shows that they don't have any appreciation to it, and they just feel entitled to it, and ultimately they take it for granted. As well as, even if we address the man side of it, look at the man you're choosing. You hadn't even learned to pick better men, because obviously, if we just take your side, you're probably going to say that the reason that you're not with your baby's father is because he was all these bad things, XYZ. And so, what more indication do you need to know that the man that's living with you on your Section 8 is not a good person, that he would be willing to even risk that for you and your kids? How can you think that he cares about you or your kids if he's willing to lay up in your situation, all for him to be able to save and be able to ultimately look out for his best interests and what he's trying to do, and jeopardize you and your kids? How can you even think that this man even cares about your kids if he would jeopardize your kids' shelter? And then typically what happens if the woman loses the her assistance? What usually happens? If that man's not attached to her in any way, if he doesn't have any kids with her, typically those men are nowhere to be found after the fact. And then they just leave you out to dry. So this is why we got to start making people responsible, because listen, if you're just going to claim that you don't know no better and you don't know how to steward your own life, then go ahead and give up all autonomy and all rights and get you a guardian, because you want to have the autonomy to be treated with the dignity of being an adult, but then you don't want to actually take any responsibility or any culpability for any of the decisions and choices that you make. Let's let that breathe for a second. All right. So this caption says, how I got Section 8.
So I really did. I had mixed feelings about when I applied for Section 8, because at first I was like, I don't really want no Section 8 because I got this. I'm a big girl. I had 2 jobs and I ain't want to be, no statistic on Section 8, food stamps, welfare, and all that kind of stuff. So I was like, no, I'm going to just work for mine. So I was working, and then, stuff happened. And next thing you know, I had applied and then I got approved and I was on Section 8. And I was like, okay, I'm on Section
She said, next thing you know, I applied. Yeah, it'd be real quick like that. It get real fuzzy when anything happens. Next thing you know, I just applied. Huh? Man, you always knew that was in your back pocket to apply. A lot of y'all know that. They talking about next thing you know, I was on TikTok begging. Really? That was always an option. That's why you move in the way you move, because you feel like you got options. You feel like you got other plan B, C, D that ultimately society allots for you. She said, next thing you know, I was applying. I bet if we bet, I'm not a betting man, but I bet you no matter what, it was gonna something, because here's what we know. There's always gonna be something that comes up in everyone's life that's gonna be an emergency. I mean, that's just life. Keep living, it's gonna happen. So if your automatic thing is to go to that, go to the options provided instead of actually really try everything you can first and exhaust everything within yourself first, then it was going to get to that point no matter what, man. It was going to get to that point no matter what, because it's just something that people can't wait to use. It's just like when it comes to begging online now. The second something comes up, people got to go beg. The second, for everyday things, they used to be designated for extreme and severe emergencies. And for example, when I say extreme and severe emergencies, that's like if you got to get a kidney surgery or something. Now people would just come on here begging for talking about they need to put a new battery in their car. Matter of fact, more trivial things than that.
Stuff happened, and next thing you know, I had applied, and then I got approved, and I was on Section 8, and I was like, okay, I'm on Section 8, cool. But I didn't think people was really gonna be mad at me for having Section 8, but they was really mad. Like, a lot of people stopped talking to me. They stopped being my friend. Like, they was really hating because I had Section 8 and they didn't. And it's like, well, if you want Section 8, just go apply for it. Like, it's you know what I'm saying? If you struggling and you need help, go down to the office and apply for it. At first, I was mad at my family, though. Like, why would they tell me to go get Section 8? Like, why would they tell me to go get food stamps? I wasn't even a single mom at the time. I was still in a relationship. But, my baby daddy, he was abusive.
Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. And this is what we be talking about. Everybody, when they're talking about the benefits, what do they always want to bring up? They always want to bring up the most vulnerable, extreme cases. The most vulnerable and extreme cases. Oh, what about the veterans who lost their torsos? And I never see those people come online doing story times or complaining. So obviously they're getting taken care of one way or the other. But what we do see, she says she was getting the benefits before she even had kids. That's most people, by the way. That's most people. Most people just start off the game getting benefits if you didn't know. And then what? You're already on getting benefits, which means you're in survival mode. And then they end up still having kids while they were already getting benefits, which says you can't even take care of yourself, and they still wind up having kids. She didn't even have kids yet. And she technically had a man. And they were together, allegedly.
Would they tell me to go get Section 8? Like, why would they tell me to go get food stamps? I wasn't even a single mom at the time. I was still in a relationship. But, my baby daddy, he was abusive and stuff, and they didn't really want me to be with him anyway. So,
Didn't I tell you? What'd she just say? Didn't I tell you?
my baby daddy, he was
Hold
abusive and
on.
stuff, and they
Hold
didn't
on.
really want
Listen to
food
this
stamps.
closely.
I wasn't even a single mom at the time. I was still
I wasn't even a single mom at the time.
in a relationship. But, my
Oh, okay. When she said she wasn't a single mom, okay. So she did have a kid already, but she was still with the man she had a kid with. Okay. Her baby dad. So she had a kid, or at least a kid, but she was with her baby's father. But irregardless, she went in up. She was getting told to apply. She said her family was telling her to apply while she was still with a man. They had kids or a kid, but they were together. And it really just sounds like she didn't need it. Like a lot of people who apply for this stuff that don't need it.
mom at the time. I was still in a relationship. But, my baby daddy, he was abusive and stuff, and they didn't really want me to be with him anyway. So, I really think that's why they really was encouraging me to go, get on food stamps because then I could get away from him. But I didn't see, all the red flags and stuff. So you couldn't tell me that he was, wasn't my man. We was gonna get married and everything.
Hold on. See, I don't just take what people say. I really pay attention. Wait a second. Let me get this straight. Listen to this again.
He was, wasn't my man. We was gonna,
She think this is a game.
all the red flags and stuff. So you couldn't tell me that he was, get on food stamps because then I could get away from him. But
She said that her parent or her family told her to get on food stamps to get away from him because he was abusive or whatever. But she said, I couldn't even see it because he was my man, my man, my man. For your family or anyone that you associate yourself with to tell you to get away from a man who was abusive to you, that means that you did see it. You did see the red flags because you saw it so much to where you actually told other people what was going on for them to then advise you to get away from him. You just didn't want to. And see, she said the truth. Most people would just say, they didn't feel safe or whatever. But she said you still couldn't tell me he wasn't my man, my man, my man. So that means in my mind, something about it still enticed her and she thought it was cute in a way. Whatever's going on. This is just getting crazy. This is just getting crazy. I'm tired of adults putting themselves in situations and circumstance, but then acting like children and acting like they're so naive while they're in it and acting like they're not making choices and they're not weighing whatever. See, it really just comes down to what we value, and ultimately what we prioritize. There are some people who are prioritizing all the worst things. And this happens on both sides of the spectrum. For fellas, you might be prioritizing a woman that's only with you for trivial things that really doesn't hold any substance, like your money or what you can do for them or whatever the case. And it's pretty obvious. You can see it, but you're making that choice regardless for your own reasons. Cool. Same for women. You might have an option of two different men. Let's say it's one man. Let's just start with the internal traits first. You got man A over here, and great person, educated, goes to church every Sunday, is active in the church, has great morals, treats you right and everything. And then you have man B, horrible guy, has a criminal record, talks to you crazy, and he's dealing with other chicks. All right? So remember, person A was all those great things, person B was all those bad things. It would seem like an obvious decision, right? But then add this into the mix. But person A is 5'4", and yeah, let's just put that in there. He's 5'4". And then person B is 6 foot. And a lot of times that'll be enough for them to say, oh, I want person B. So whose decision is that? Man, y'all know better. We're going to stop acting like we don't know better. We know better. We're just making choices. And if you want to continue to be out here and be an adult and be treated like an adult, we're going to expect you to stand on the choices and the trade-offs that you're making with your choices.
I didn't see, all the red flags and stuff. So you couldn't tell me
You
that
didn't see the red
he
flag.
was, wasn't my man. We was gonna get married and everything. He had proposed to me and brought me a ring and everything. He used to buy me everything. He took care of me. He took care of his kids. Like, he was doing such a good job, but he just couldn't leave them streets alone. So I was like, you know what? It's just give me my Section 8. So
He just couldn't leave those streets alone. So you knew he was in the streets already. In the streets. Probably in a multitude of ways. Let's be honest. Not just in criminal ways, just in every way. He was in the streets most likely. But something about that fascinated her. And she found enticing. As we see typically, but we typically and very rarely want to talk about it. when it's clear as day. And listen, man, I'm not going to tell you what not to like or what you would not to go for. But ultimately, if that's what you decide, I'm going to expect you to be an adult and I'm going to expect you to understand that that's what you chose. And that's what you're going to have to navigate after the fact. You're going to have to navigate that because you chose that. You chose the path that leads nowhere. So you're going to have to, if you want to get back on the right path, you're going to have to walk backwards from the path that you chose that led nowhere and then get on the right path. So you ultimately are now going to have a longer path than the longer path already was, because the right path was already the long path. But now you got to work double hard because you got to actually walk backwards, then get on the right path. That's just a fact. But people don't want to do that. People don't want to then up their capacity and push themselves in order to make sure that they can rectify the situation and ultimately salvage the situation. No, they just want to say, spawn me back to the beginning and then still give me a little bit of a push further from there. I still don't even want to walk the right path from the beginning. I still want somebody to propel me first. And if I ever do start walking, because a lot of people, they don't want to take no responsibility for their life. But they still want what they want. They still want to get to that destination, but they don't want to put any steps in the game or any skin in the game. They just want to be placed at the destination, even after they've made all the decisions that put the hurdles in the way of them reaching the destination. But y'all, we'll leave it there for today. Y'all, if you could like the video, I greatly appreciate it. It only takes a second, and it actually helps out more than you know. And also, if you could hype the video, hype is a new feature that YouTube offers where it helps smaller content creators like myself. And basically, when you hype, it actually pushes us to the extent that it pushes the larger content creators. So you just press the hype button and it shows the points. And since I'm a smaller creator, a smaller channel, we actually get more points per hype. And hype was designed for smaller channels, so that's why. But if you come across a video and you don't see the hype button, then it's probably been over 7 days. And hype usually vanishes after 7 days. So for that reason, it's usually best practice, if you want to hype, to just go ahead and hype while the iron is hot on a newer video. And also, if you want to become a member of the channel, join buttons on the video. And what becoming a member of the DXU family will come with is you will get badges next to your comments, where it'll show people that you are a member whenever you leave a comment, as well as you would get early access to content. And you would also get exclusive content that's not available for everyone else on YouTube. So again, if you want to become a member, join buttons on the video. But until then, I'll see you in the next video.